Oh man, this one's gonna be a fun one. Okay, so Italian idiom about chatty is avere le mani in pasta, which means to have your hands in pasta, or to have your hands in everything, to have your hands in the dough. This is how I live my life. Avere le mani in pasta. And for me, I really don't know of any other way. I don't know if it's I love to do it all, or it is a lack of trust in others just to do their part. There always has to be some kind of incentive, or you have to deal with the baggage of working with others, and I just don't like dealing with people. I like dealing with them, I love working with people. I don't like having people work for me, just because it feels like a glorified form of babysitting. So I think it's probably both. It's this idea of I love to do everything. There's no aspect of developing a product that bores me. All of it is very exciting. There's no part of marketing that product that bores me. All of it is exciting. There's no part of running a business that doesn't excite me. Well, I should say accounting. Accounting bores me. That I do not like to have my hands in. Just tell me what the bare minimum is, and I will do just the bare minimum. But outside of that, I will delegate to a bookkeeper and an accountant. But for the most part, I love to have my hands in the dough, have my hands in everything. And I think that there is a third or fourth order thinking. There's like a higher order result that comes from being actively involved in every part of a process. Obviously, it allows you to be vertically integrated, allows you to be autonomous, because you know everything about it, so you're able to control it or to respond to it effectively without the need of having to go through some middleman or another person in order to fix it. So imagine that you not only drive a car, you know how to build a car. So you know what the sound of the engine is, and you know when something's wrong, you know how to fix it. And you have your hands in pasta, or you have your hands in everything, is implying that you know how to do everything from dirt to done when it comes to a process. And so you're able to tweak it and fine tune it. So obviously the first order thinking is, by doing so, you now have this deep well of knowledge about how to fix any sort of problem when it comes to your business, or in this instance, the car. I would say second order thinking, though, is it is always forcing your mind to stretch and learn. And in a way that maybe looks scattered and chaotic, and I would say in comparison to just focusing on just knowing how to do one thing really, really, really good, what it does is there are so many different ways to learn things, and then there are effective ways for you to learn. And by having your hands in pasta, avere le mani in pasta, and always getting fully involved and engaged in as many parts of the process as possible, I think forces you to always be adaptive and absorbent of information. And you begin to program your brain to kind of think and always be making connections, always be pulling, and trying to take whatever you have around you in solving the problem at hand. And because you've always been like, I'm just going to go all in on this, that means I'm going to have to learn 15 other things around this just to understand this thing. But by doing so, your brain actually learns to do that with everything. It's always looking for solutions instead of just panicking, not knowing that it only has one solution, and that one solution didn't work. So I'd say that's the second order thinking, is that it teaches you to be absorbent and to continually be learning, not memorizing facts, but changing behavior. So that's the second order thinking. The third order thinking is a thing that I got from a book by Steven Johnson. I think it's Steven Johnson. I think his name is that, Steven Johnson, that sounds right, Where Good Ideas Come From. And he talks about how Charles Darwin, when inventing the theory of evolution, he had his hands in a lot of things. You could say he had eclectic hobbies. He had a lot of different hobbies, a lot of different interests, and he was just down up to the neck in investing in these things. He would learn just about birds and just go all in about birds, where they migrate, how they build nests, what food they eat, how do they mate, what forms of communication do they use to ward off prey or defend themselves, all that kind of stuff. And then, but he'd be doing that and then also be like learning about plants. And it's like, okay, how do plants communicate? And what Steven Johnson talks about using Charles Darwin as an example is that because he had his hands in pasta and he was so involved in so many different things, but to the extreme, fully immersed in this thing. And then he would, okay, all right, now I'm going to switch to this. And I'm fully immersed in this thing. It wasn't like, I'm just an accountant. This is all I do, period. It was like, I'm an accountant, but I'm also a botanist. But I'm also love the cello. But I'm also love cooking Japanese sushi. Like, it's just like weird, eclectic hobbies, but you go all in. You have your hands in every part of the process. That what it would do is it would create interleaving residue. And creating interleaving residue is where the subconscious can begin to work very effectively at solving that problem, because it is now in a totally disparate, different domain, working on that problem in the background, but being observant and receptive and absorbing all of these weird things that are in a completely disparate industry. So Charles Darwin came up with the idea of the theory of evolution, not because he was studying one specific animal and realized, oh, okay, well, there's traces of evolution, here it is. It was like he was trying to solve this problem. He didn't even have a word for it. Didn't even really understand what he was looking for. He was just like, how does this work? And had this problem, but he would go all in on learning about a plant, and then wouldn't solve that problem, but then he would take himself completely out of it and then go into learning about turtles and just go all in about learning about turtles. And while he was learning about turtles, interleaving residue from learning about plants was kind of still in his brain, and his subconscious was able to work on this and being like, oh, there are patterns in nature between plants and animals and humans, and and through interleaving residue, avere le mani in pasta, he was able to discover, you could say by osmosis, by being immersed, fully immersed, and having his hands in everything, this, like what we now know as the theory of evolution. And so I would say third order thinking. The first order is you just get to learn everything and you become vertically integrated. Second, you become a sponge for learning, not memorizing information, learning, meaning you become a sponge to changing behavior. And then third is you give way for interleaving residue and the subconscious to be able to really wrestle with problems that are going on in your life in the background while you're consciously fully invested and have your hands in this thing. And so third order consequences for having your hands in everything is that you come up with really brilliant, innovative solutions you would have never come up with otherwise had you not been totally immersed in a bunch of different things and to like the most intense immersed level. And that's where I'm going to leave it, okay? Avere le mani in pasta. It's better, in my opinion, to have your hands in everything, to have your fingers in the pasta, the dough, than it is to specialize. I think it is far greater to fully immerse yourself in being a general than it is in being a specialist, especially in this day and age where highly repeatable tasks are being automated and outsourced to AI. it's going to require those three things: vertical integration, knowing how to solve problems in a very unique way, interleave and residue to come up with very innovative solutions to problems, and three, becoming a sponge to learning.